Hi everybody, this is Lisa Hardy from SweetPaperStudios.com. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Ontario, Canada, and in today's card tutorial I'm going to show you how to make a beautiful monochromatic card such as this. I am drawing inspiration from the wonderful Jennifer McGuire today. I did see her create one of these types of monochromatic cards a couple of years ago, I believe. And I just had to case it. She is amazingly talented, and I just think monochromatic cards are so beautiful. But on my take, I'm going to be using all of Stampin' Up! Products today, and I am just so excited to show you. So for today's card, we are using the new Amazing Life stamp set from Stampin' Up! This is from the new 2019 Occasions Catalogue coming January 3rd, and I am so excited. This does come in a bundle with the new Rectangle Stitched Framelit Dies, and that's these beauties right here. I have been waiting for Stampin' Up! To come out with these, and they finally have, so this is the perfect card to do this with. So these do come as a bundle in the Occasions Catalogue. You can save 10% when you buy them together in my online store. I'll post all the links to these products right below this video as soon as January 3rd hits. So be sure to pop on over to the blog because I'll have more details on there as well. For today's card, I am using Bermuda Bay Cardstock, but this can really be done in any color. But for the sake of today's card, Bermuda Bay is just one of my favorite colors, so we're going to stick with that. You will need a card base that's 5.5 by 8.5 inches, and I've already gone ahead and scored that. So you can go ahead and just fold that in half and use your bone folder just to create that nice crisp edge. Okay. We will be using the Big Shot today, obviously with the framelit. So we're going to go ahead and cut out 2 of the layers that we'll need. So the first layer is just using the largest rectangle stitched framelit. That's this big one right here. Now I have already gone ahead and cut that out, so you'll just get something like this. Hopefully you can see that beautiful stitched edging on there. It really is beautiful and adds a nice extra touch to your cards. So I've gone ahead and cut that out, but we will need to create this frame right here, which we're going to use 2 of the framelits for. Okay, so you were going to use the 3rd largest and the 5th largest. That's these 2 right there. I'll put those aside. And I'm just using an extra Bermuda Bay piece of cardstock for this. And I will bring over my Big Shot. Now you're just going to create a border with these. So I'm using the magnetic plate just to help those dies stay in place. And I will put on my Bermuda Bay cardstock. And I like to cut this way just so I can save a little bit of paper. So you're going to put the largest one down first, and then you're just going to put the smaller one inside as center as possible so you can just create that nice border. So when you're happy with that, and I think that's probably good, you can take your second plate, clear plate. As you can see, I've used it many times. Gently put that over top, and I like to push in my plates first before I start reeling. I just think that helps things stay in place a bit more. So when you do that, you can just crank it through. Now for this, I like to run it through a couple of times with these dies just to make sure that you're getting the full cut. So that would be my recommendation when you're working with these. Through twice. So I'll move that out of the way. And then you'll be able to gently pull them up. Save this paper for something else. You can always use it for another project. And you can gently just pop these out. And then you've created this nice border, just like that. You will also have this extra piece from the center that you can keep for other future projects as well. So Okay, so I'm going to set these aside just for a little bit later. So now we can work on our sentiment, and I just have a piece of scrap paper here, and I've already mounted my "So Happy to Have You in My Life" stamp. It's just beautiful. This set is actually very versatile. It can be used for any occasion, birthday, you know, good luck, congratulations, and even just because, like, I believe in you or you are amazing. It's just a really versatile stamp set with some pretty images. So I've gone ahead and mounted that, and we are doing some embossing, so you will need your Versamark ink pad. And I have my white embossing powder ready to go as well. So I'll just go and I'll ink up this sentiment. You want to make sure that it's nice and wet with some good coverage. And you're just going to put that right there. You want to make sure that you do have some space around it because we are going to be cutting out the sentiment today. So I like to make sure that I press nice and firm. So you want to make sure that you don't miss any spots with the embossing powder. So you might be able to see that. There you go. See, that's nice. It's a nice image. I will take my embossing powder and just go over my stamped image with that. I like to make sure I have a nice coverage on there. If you do have an embossing buddy, you're going to make sure you want to use that over your cardstock first. Fortunately, I've misplaced mine and can't use it right now. So once you've done that, you can put your embossing powder aside. As you can see, I've got a nice image there with my embossing powder. So I'll just move the other items out of the way. You're ready to use your heat tool to set the embossing powder, and I will fast forward the next minute or so as I set this embossing powder. So I'll see you in a minute. Alright, welcome back. My embossing is now finished and I am ready to add some dimension to this. This is where you need a few extra tools. So I have my Whisper White watercolor pencil. This comes from the watercolor set from Stampin Up, which comes with, I think, 13 different colors. It's really beautiful. I use these quite often. And you'll also need a blender pen and a little bit of Wink Stella shimmer pen just to add that nice touch. So we're going to add some dimension to this image, and it's not too complicated. So I'm going to just zoom in a little bit so you can see this a bit better. And what we're really going to do is take our watercolor pencil, and you're just going to add some dimension to this banner here. So I'm going to press in a little bit hard, sort of at the edges, just to create a darker white spots. Just like this. And then I'm just going to add in some very light color sort of in between and over the bit of the words. I'm not going to color in this full banner because we want to just add a little bit of shading. And then you're going to do the same for the other side. Adding dark edges, and just adding a few dimensions just like that. So hopefully you can see that. I'll zoom in a little bit more so you can see that. Okay, so just subtle shading. Okay, and then for the happy, I'm going to just inside of the letters, just on the edges. I guess you could say on the right side of the edges. Just going to add a little bit of dimension. Just like that. So you're just adding to the left. Okay. And then you're going to come in with your blender pen. And I'm using the bigger brush tip for this one. And you're just going to do subtle swoops on where you added your definition, just so you can blend that color out a little bit. You're going to do that just on the banner on both sides. Just doing some small brush strokes, just like that. Now I'm not going to do anything to the happy, I'm just going to leave that there. So as soon as that dries a little bit, you're going to come in with your Wink of Stella glitter brush and you're going to add some glitter to this banner as well. Again, you're not going over the full length, just sort of the ends. And it just adds a little bit of dimension and a little bit more character to the card. And then once that is all dry, you're going to cut that out and then you'll end up with something like this. You can see that dimension from the watercolor pencil, the blender pen, and you can hopefully you can see that shimmer as well. Just adds a little something to your sentiment. So I'll zoom back out and now we're ready to build our card. So with our layers, the first thing that we are going to do is put on our first layer, which I will be using my Snail Adhesive for. Let me just zoom out a little bit more. There we go. Just on the back, you're going to put on that first layer. Like that, and just in as center as possible. You're going to have somewhat of a border around there. There you go, just like that. You can see that. And the next part you're going to do is with your frame, you are going to need some mini Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm just going to go ahead and put some all around this border. Now I like to make sure that I am using more than enough here because I'm always worried when I send my cards that they will, if any sort of pop-ups get smushed down, it just won't look right. So I always make sure to put couple of extra dimensionals on there just to make sure that it stays nice and steady. So you can go ahead and take these off, take the backings off. Sometimes they want to be a little bit difficult. But I do love the dimension that it adds to this card in particular. Okay, I'm going to move those out of the way. And you want to be careful with this because they are quite sticky, so you want to get your placement as best as possible. And again, you're just going to put it in the very center of this. So that looks good right there. You just be really gentle until you get it in a place that you want, and then you can press that down. And then you can see that you just get a nice 3D frame with that. It looks so pretty. And then the last thing that we have to do is add our sentiment on there. So I am using the regular dimensionals for this. And I will just pop some all over. And maybe for the sake of, you know, wanting good coverage and making sure that nothing sinks in, I'll add a little bit of extra with the mini dimensionals. And you can take those right off. You want to make sure that you don't put anything on these flags because they are going to sit over top of the frame that we just added. Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go. And you're just going to center that over as well. Just like this. In the center. Give that a press. As you see, the banner comes over the edge. And then there you go. Isn't that so pretty? You just created your own monochromatic card. It's with a pop of white. I just think it's so pretty. Again, this can be done in any color. And I really hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. Be sure to visit sweetpaperstudios.com for full card details, and I'll have the information below this video as well. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos, and thank you so much for joining me today. Bye!